So, hi everybody. For this broadcast today, I have Eric Gerber with me, and he is a friend of Ty's, and they go way back to Ty's Austin days. And he's currently in Puerto Rico right now, for what I don't know quite yet, but we will find out soon, hopefully. And today we will be talking about the importance of surrounding yourself with eagles instead of turkeys, right? So, as you all know, I'm on my journey to obtaining my first million, earning my first million by the time I'm 25, and that gives me 4 years. And one thing that's been stressed to me is it's important for me to surround myself with people who are where I want to be and know what it takes to get to where I want to be and reach my goals. So, Eric, can you talk about how surrounding yourself with a lot of successful people has changed your mindset or has influenced you?
Well, in the beginning, you don't suspect that it's going to make that big of a difference,
Mm-hmm.
but it really does. There are a number of top thought leaders. See, Think and Grow Rich, Seven Habits of Highly Influential People, Highly Effective People. All the big books that everybody that is successful has read, right? We all know these books. They say, show me the top 5 people that you spend the most time with, and I'll show you where you'll be in the next 5 or 10 years. And that's true because the people that you hang around with, those are the people that are influencing you, the people that you're influencing. You think you might be influencing them,
Mm-hmm.
but more often than not, the reverse is the case. And if you surround yourself with people who aren't going anywhere, they're not doing anything, and they have no perspective of going anywhere or doing anything in the future, then guess what? You're effectively sealing your future. It doesn't mean that you can't have friends. It doesn't mean that you have to fire all those friends, but it does mean that you have to consider what it is that you want out of life, and if spending your time around those people is going to help you get closer to that or not. And there are some people with the, I don't know, new age woo woo, this mindset where you can't not be friends. You can't not, you have to have loyalty. I agree 100%. You do have to have loyalty to the people you care about. At the same time, you have to consider what do you want out of life. And you don't necessarily choose relationships because of what you're going to get out of them,
Mm-hmm.
but think about where you want to go. Are those people capable of going there with you or not? Are they going to keep you from going where you want to go in your life, or are they going to be there alongside you? Are they capable of coming alongside you or not?
I
So
totally get what you're saying on that aspect. It falls back to like listening to the right people. Like I can't listen to the trolls, the naysayers, and all of that. So hanging out with like people like Ty and everything, it helps me because they're always positive and trying to help me. And it's definitely changed my mindset and the way that you've explained how it changes mindsets and like how hanging out with the right people helps people reach your goal. Correct. Um, the can you tell me like sometimes it's hard for me to not judge a book by its cover, right? And so like I know you're good at reading people because I've watched a video with you and Ty, and you mentioned that you knew instantly from the beginning that day back in the middle of Sixth Street that Ty was a straight shooter,
in a
right?
minute.
He will tell you how it is. He told you how it is then, and he'll tell you how it is now. And those are the type of people I want to surround myself with. I don't want people to like, I don't want to be around people who are talking me down or boosting me up for no absolute reason because it's not going to help me in the end. How were you able to, can you talk about how you were able to see that he was a straight shooter from the get-go and you weren't just judging a book by its cover and going off of, okay, I'm gonna help this guy?
Okay, well, I guess it's fair to say that I had some experience in sales. I had worked in car sales a little bit when that was, Lord, I went from being a complete hermit for a couple of years, working night jobs and then going to college in Colorado, just being a complete hermit, to flip flopping, and I found an advertisement in a paper that said no experience required, and I said that's me, and I had this negative belief. I had such negative beliefs about what sales was, about communications, about car sales in particular, and they were so massive. I didn't even recognize. I mean, I knew that I had this negative belief, but I didn't know how bad it would affect me if I continue to have it. And my mindset was, you know what? I need to learn these skills. I need to be able to speak to these people. I need to be able to do these things because those are things that I'm going to do in life. They're things that, if I don't learn and see what's going on, then it's going to hurt me.
Yes.
And so I had to figure it out and do a complete flip flop from being a hermit to getting out there and getting like really aggressive with learning about sales and communications. And the more I learn, is the greatest salespeople were the people that were the most genuine, the most honest, and really did want to help people and were the best at figuring out solutions. So it's not just a solution for themselves to get a sale. It's a solution for the other person. And if you can really give solutions to other people, that helps. So my personal journey, I went through a big flip flop, and a lot of people, I guess, haven't had the exposure to sales and communications that I have. When we were working down in the 6th Street area, which is a downtown clubbing district in Austin, Texas, it's a several block radius where they shut down all the streets on the weekends, and it just fills with thousands of people. And our job, Ty and I, was club promoters. We would go out in the streets, pick up groups of girls, and fill up the clubs. Because if you got a club full of dudes, nobody wants to go. And if you got a club full of girls, everybody wants to go. So that gave us an insane amount of exposure to repetition, going out, talking to people, opening new conversations, building relationships, things like that. So when I met Ty, it was very obvious to me that he wasn't bullshitting me, because I've been bullshitted by the best bullshitters. And we can all say that we've had a lot of experience with bullshitters, but how do you tell? And that's kind of what you're asking me.
Yes.
I feel like it's important to bring up a couple things. So you have to recognize a few things that to the beginner, to the novice, they are not obvious. They may sound obvious, but they don't appear obvious until you get used to looking for them and recognizing them. The way that something progresses is from a thought to speech to habits to actions to their friends and surroundings, and then circumstances, life circumstances. So when you say judge a book by its cover, you might be judging, oh, dude's got a shitty car. I know plenty of millionaires that have shitty cars. Who cares, right?
Yeah.
Oh, dude's wearing a really nice watch or has a fat bankroll, right? That he pulls out this wad of hundreds to pay for drinks. I know plenty of broke ass people that have fat bankrolls and nice watches and sparkly rims, right? So
Yeah.
how do you differentiate between the two? We found a long time ago, we had this discussion, I'm remembering, and I think it came up recently. There's a topic of what we call fool's gold. There's a lot of people that will have confidence, right? Everybody wants confidence. I want a confident woman. You want a confident man, right?
Right.
But how do you know what confidence is? And a long time ago, geez, this might have been 2008. Ty and I were having this discussion, and we were uncovering our thoughts about it, and this is what we came up with. A douchebag is not, well, it's some dude with a pop collar, right?
Yes.
We think of that image when we think of the ego, right? Somebody with a big ego is some dude with a pop collar that acts like a jackass, right? Well,
Right.
the only job of the ego is to make the inside world match the outside world, right? It has no other job. And a lot of people will do things such as being loud, being aggressive. They kind of act like a douchebag on the outside, and to a lot of women. Now, don't take this the wrong way. It's actually to guys as well, to people. You may have found yourself asking the question, okay, as a kid, I remember, hey, how come all the assholes are getting the hot girls?
Yeah.
How come that guy's such a jerk? How come she's dating him? Right?
Right.
And it wasn't until a long time later that we figured, you know what? Those behaviors that they're doing, it must send some kind of unconscious or subconscious signal. It must flip a switch somewhere that says, okay, this man is confident. This man can protect a family. This man can make decisions. This man can do these things, can fulfill these needs, maybe in a tribal society that we might have needed a long, long time ago, right? That our physiology hasn't really evolved out of yet. So maybe it's sending those signals. And now we come across the conversation that we had in 2008 is what is the difference between a douchebag or what we now call fool's gold and the real deal? We
Right.
find that men don't date women, don't date little girls. And we find that women don't date little boys, right? A woman wants a man wants a woman. They don't look for emotional adolescence,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or social adolescence. So the fool's gold is somebody may act loud. They may act like they're telling people what to do. They may act like they don't care, right? They may act like a jerk or a pushy, and it may look like they have a lack of insecurities. They may look like they are confident and they can do all these things that fulfill all those subconscious needs, right?
Right.
But in reality, we found that there is no such thing as confidence. We believe that confidence itself does not exist. You can't go out and get confidence. You can't do something and like have confidence. It's not a badge. It's not something you earn or wear or can keep in your pocket. But what you can do is over time you can remove your insecurities one layer at a time. You can find out, you know what, this is who I am. You know what, this is what I believe in. You know what, these are the kinds of decisions I'm going to make because I believe in who I am and my capabilities and my friends and my connections. I believe in my skills and the things that I've learned, and I'm confident that I can learn and acquire the skills and the friends that I need to accomplish the things that I want in my life and for the life of the people around me, right?
Right.
So all of a sudden, by removing things and having a lack of insecurity, now we put on this air of what people will call confidence. So when I met Ty, and we talked in the street, I I did sense a very genuine truthfulness to everything that he was saying to me. He gave me, hey, this is my situation. I'm in a bad situation. I'm looking for a way. I'm looking for a way. I need a job. I need this. And he told me the whole story. He gave me the scoop, and I could see by his thoughts, by his speech, by his mannerisms or his habits, I could see by his actions that all of those things were telling me, okay, this is a person that cares about his future, that is making decisions on his relationships, that is making decisions on. We spoke for 20 minutes, and I made a decision on the spot to myself. It's like, okay, I brought him to my boss, and I said, you need to hire Ty tonight. And he looked at the tie, looked at me, said, you got your alcohol beverage license? You're on the schedule tomorrow. So he started the very next day, and that's when he got into club promoting and things like that. So those old stories was me and him.
Yeah.
So that's what I invite you to check out. I mean, pay attention to what are they thinking about, and how can you tell what they're thinking about? The external environment is a representation of their internal environment. So what they're saying, what their habits are, they might say something and then their habits reveal something different. They might tell you something or try to show you a habit, but their life circumstances and the friends that they spend time with and all those things, you might see a lot of contradicting things, contradicting behaviors. They're not congruent with their speech and their actions and their friends and their relationships. So I invite you to look at those things whenever you communicate with new people and start new relationships, and that will be an indicator. So you can't necessarily see one thing, one piece of the puzzle, and truthfully get a picture of what the rest of the image looks like. But there are things that are going to add up. I mean, if somebody's carrying a fat bankroll of cash instead of using credit cards, why are they doing that? There may be a good reason. They may have reasons that they're trying to spend cash instead of using credit cards, instead of any other reason. I know plenty of people that are trying to live off the grid. That could be another reason. It doesn't mean that they're just get stuff under the table or they just won't look.
Okay, so from your story and how you and Ty met, you said within 20 minutes you knew that this guy was trying to turn his life around, the way that he was talking and the emotions that he was expressing and stuff, right? So you knew within 20 minutes, and something that is.
I don't want to stop your question, but I'm going to.
Okay.
I did not see that he's trying to turn his life around.
Okay.
what I saw was the path that he was on.
Right.
So that goes in addition to you're judging a book by the cover. It's what is somebody doing right now? Not what are they trying to do? What are they trying to undo?
Yeah.
What are they trying to
And
change? Because people are shit at change. Sorry for, but people are bad at change. It takes a lot of effort for us. We're creatures of habit. Unless their lifestyle, unless the way that they do things is inviting to the new things they want in their life, you have to change before your life changes.
mm-hmm.
So I didn't see him for what he was trying to change. I saw him for what he was at that moment. And to me, he was successful at that moment with his mindset and with what he was doing. He was congruent with his speech and his actions. So that is what I cared about. I don't care about what happened in the past. We've all got pasts.
Yeah.
We've all got stuff that we maybe we're not proud of, that we want to be better. You know, we want to grow.
Mm-hmm.
And if you judge somebody by where their
Where
roots
they
are,
were from and where they want to be.
it's really hard. But if you judge them by where they are right now, then you have a lot more success.
No, I do appreciate you stopping me and clarifying that. So I do appreciate that. Thank you for that. So like you said, you saw him for where he was at that moment in time, right? And one of the things that is stressed to me is that in order to connect with people, right, I have to create a bond with them, right? In that moment of time, he created that bond with you, right? To whereas you saw him for who he was in that time, and you were willing, that bond that you guys created at that moment, you were willing to help him out there. You got him a job that started the next day. To where it's like when I'm trying to create a bond with people, it might be I might need to connect with them in a month, in a year, but I have to create the bond. And I believe that it's if I stay true to myself and project how I'm feeling in that moment, like you say, people, the way people see me for me and just be a straight shooter from there, I can connect with people that way. But in your experience, can you talk about how you create a bond with people to where it's a bond that is created on a short amount of time, but if you ever needed to call them up within a year or 2 years or so, they'll remember who you are and not just, oh, that guy. Like you could remember Ty for, oh, that guy on 6th Street, but you remember Ty for Ty the straight shooter, Ty the he'll tell you like it is type of person, right?
Yes. So you want the secret sauce.
Or
You want the secret sauce. And it's going to sound like the secret sauce is simple.
oof.
It's going to sound like it's too simple. It's going to
Okay.
sound like it's easy and anybody can do it. But the deal is that you have to actually make an effort and you have to actually care.
Yeah.
So if you don't care, then it doesn't matter. When you talk to Ty, does he care about your future?
He does. He
Does
did.
he
If
care
he
that
didn't care, he wouldn't point out. He wouldn't be like, "Look, it's not going to be an easy road." If you didn't care about what we were talking about, you wouldn't stop the conversation. And was like, "No, I wasn't worried about his future. What I saw in him was what I saw in him then." Right?
Yeah.
You stopping the conversation shows that you cared about telling me that you saw what you saw in him then rather than how I said that you saw that he wanted to change his life. You didn't see that he wanted to change his life. You saw that where he was for that in that moment. Whereas if when Ty talks to me, he tells me all the time, he's like, um, it would it would be wrong of me to tell you that this is an easy path. It's not an easy path. Are you willing to like he's like, you have to be willing to do the work, you have to be willing to put yourself out there, you have to be willing to go through the journey, right? And just experiencing it for what it is and take your mistakes and learn from people, but also like stay true to yourself, right? So that's what you're asking. When he talks to me, he cares. I know he cares.
Okay. So then we can go deeper with that and say, how do you know that he cares? Right?
Right.
So how can you how can you determine that? And what is it that transmits that feeling from, the things that he says or the things that he does, right?
Mhm.
Or any person for that matter, to how do you receive that as, you know what, this person actually cares. So I'll invite you to try this.
Okay.
Next time you meet somebody new, next time you, I don't know, take an Uber, go to a coffee shop, take a moment and put a little effort into, you know what, how's your day? How's your day going?
Right.
And then really stop and look that person in the eyes and say, you know what, how's your day? How are you? And I find more often than not, especially in Washington, D.C., even out in California. So we have a guy coming to fix the window, so excuse any noise or background movement stuff. But a lot of places, people are like, they're going through these rote motions. Do you want a large? Do you want, okay, so here they'll like stop, and it's almost like they're slapped in the face, and they're like, my day's it's going all right. My day's okay. They stop and they have to like recenter themselves. And for that moment, you can connect with somebody. And this is on just like a daily basis. I think it's a really good habit to get into. Making a connection with the people that you interact with on a regular basis. If it's on a regular basis, the same person, then you're going to make much more of an impression, because each time that you communicate with them, you stop for a second and you're like, you know what? I want to know about you, right?
Right.
Let me ask you something, right? You get into their thought, their reality. You hop in and you're like, you know what? I care about whatever it is that you're going through. I care about, hey, I have this problem. What do you think about this? Do you have any ideas or solutions about this? See, it's not just trying to get things from people, even though doing that will help you, it'll inform you. Even if you're asking the same question to 5 different people because you want different perspectives, right?
Right.
Like, hey, why is this happening in this neighborhood? I've seen this over this. You've lived here for a number of years, and you're going to get their input on something, right? You can ask them about that. You can ask them about peripheral things. You can ask them about personal experiences. If they share something about their day or their life that is interesting to you, something that you know about, then you can say, you know what, I have don't you have to not shave that kind of dog? Isn't it really bad if you shave that kind of dog? And they'll go all about their dogs, because people love their dogs, they love their animals, they love. So you can get into some random topics, but really, if you genuinely ask about those things, you're learning. You're learning about them. You're creating a relationship. When somebody tells you about themselves, they feel like they know you.
Right. Right. Okay.
Tells you about themselves and their life, they feel like they know you better. It's really freaking weird. It's the complete opposite, right? You're knowing them better because they're telling you about their life, but they feel more connected to you because they're sharing
Their
and
life with you.
they feel like they know you.
Yeah.
So my advice would be simply on a daily basis, whenever you interact with the world, make an effort to stop with some of your interactions and just learn to meet them, actually meet them, like actually connect for a second there. And that skill just grows over time. That skill just grows over time. You become more sensitive to, oh, you know what? It seems like these things are important to this person.
Right.
And you can even bring those things up, and so my advice for creating better relationships faster and being able to have a low maintenance is what you're asking. See, the thing is, like, okay, we're meeting and we're talking, and knowing what we know about each other now, I already know that you've got a mindset that's taking you in a specific direction, right? So moving on in the future, if I have any reason to call you up, I can call you up because you already know what I'm doing and where my direction is and what I care about. Is it going to be weird to you if I call you up and say, like, hey, there's something going on here. You should really take a look at it. Or what do you think about this? If I ask your
Absolutely not.
So in a very short amount of time, we've already created that relationship.
Right.
You
See,
and I have the added benefit of having a third party introduction.
yeah.
That's like a shortcut.
But us actually talking to each other without me even realizing, we've created the bond to where it's like you said, it wouldn't be weird if you would call me up because I talk to you and I know a little bit about you, and it's not like a random person like, hey, I don't remember you, because the way that we're talking now and the honest and truthfulness that's coming out and you giving me advice and, hey, take the time out of your day to do this, this, and that, it comes out as honest and not like, oh, I'm just telling you to do it, right?
Yeah. Or
Yeah.
vice versa. And the third party introduction, have you heard of credit card piggybacking?
No, sir. What is
Okay,
that?
so credit card piggybacking. Let's say you're fresh out of college. You have no credit history, right? Let's say you're going into college. You've never had a credit card. You've never had a car, or you've only had something that was co-signed by a mom or something like that, right?
Right.
The banks view you as having no history. You're a ghost. So no credit is almost as bad as bad credit, right?
Right.
Not quite, but almost. They don't know if they can trust you. And credit card piggybacking is, let's say your parents have this credit card that they've had for 5 or 10 years. There's 5 or 10 years worth of credit card history there that shows payments. That's good credit card history. So what you can do is you can say, hey, mom or dad, can you add me to this credit card? And what they do is they call the bank, they run your credit, they put your name on the card. It doesn't change the card, it doesn't change anything else, it just puts your name on the card. And you can say, I don't want the credit card. It's your credit card. I just want to put my name on it.
Right.
Excuse me. After a few months, then all of that 5 or 10 years of credit history for that card, bam, is now on your credit history. So now you've got years of good payment history that
But it
you.
happened in months.
So this is just an example, and now let's use this in a personal, social context. Okay, you've had a relationship with Ty for X amount of time. You've known him, you've communicated with him, you've worked together. I've known Ty for X amount of time, known him, communicated with him, worked with him, right?
Right.
Now, him being the middleman and introducing us, his credit is now transferred to you from my perspective, and his credit is transferred to me from your perspective. So now, as we communicate with each other, we do it with the same way that we would communicate with Ty.
With him, yeah.
Okay, so when you have third-party introductions, then that's a really powerful way to build trust with somebody in a very short period of time, even more so than being genuine. And if you're genuine on top of that, and you actually care, and you get to know the person, and you talk about a few things that they really, they care about, and you ask how you want to know how they're doing and things like that, what they're doing, and if there's a way that you can contribute and benefit them, then it's just going to make things go a lot faster. So, shortcut.
That's opened my eye big time. Thank you for that. The analogies that you use and the examples that you use helped me understand better, and I appreciate that. Okay, so the Rolex story. I saw the video, I watched the video, and I know like the background of it from the outside looking in. Can you tell me your experience from the inside looking out, what it meant for you? Talk about what it meant for you for him to come back around years later and like, thank you for helping me back in 2006 in the middle of 6th Street. You didn't have to do it, but you did, and I'm grateful that you did. Can you tell me what it felt like or your experience when it came back full circle to that moment?
I remember when we were on the street. So it turns out that when we met, we had read a lot of the same books. We
Okay.
had read a lot of the same books. We had a lot of similar interests, and it felt like we had a similar desire, need to progress, to grow. And so the place that he was staying was on the way to and from work from where I lived. So he didn't have a car. He didn't have anything.
Right.
And so I started, I got him a job. I started driving him, picking him up to and from work. It wasn't any kind of thing extra to me. And I felt like it was beneficial for us to spend time together. It wasn't like that guy that needs stuff from me all the time.
Right.
Okay, you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, I did.
It was more like, hey, let's hang out. I think that good things will come. And So picking it up to and from work was something that just made sense to me, and it wasn't any skin off my back. But for him, that was a huge deal. That made a big difference, right? If you don't have a car and somebody's helping you put money in your pocket, making sure that you get there, and get home, like those are huge. That's the same as putting money in your pocket, because if you can't get there, you got no job, right?
Right.
So uh, from being in a lot of positions where I traveled, and I had a lot of odd jobs for many years and didn't have vehicle, and it's rough. And so let's see what else. We would sit on 6th Street, and I'd turn my pockets inside out, elephant ears, and I'd say, "Bro, you spot me $5 so I can get something at the convenience store so I can have food for tonight, and I'll pay you back at tip out." Right? We'd get tips from the bars at the end of the night, and then we could go eat dinner or something like that. Or vice versa. He'd turn his pockets and say, "Bro, can I borrow $5?" And now, fast forward, if we're talking about 10 or 20 grand, it's like, yeah, sure, here you go, $5, right? If he's making an assessment on an investment, or if I'm making an assessment, or one of the other guys, then we already know that somebody did the legwork and somebody's already validated something that we're looking at, right? So now it's not such a big deal. And so years later, to receive something, it was just under $13,000 to watch. That day, he probably spent about $80,000 in watches. Okay, it wasn't just me and Mers. There was other watches, right?
Right.
So to come to a point where, in one side we're turning out our pockets for $5 for scraps and starving, to years later, it's a huge thing. It's a huge gesture, even though it's not you having a nice watch or something like that. It is not going to change your life.
Right.
But the gesture and what it does when you're carrying something around like that with you,
The
it
meaning behind
changes
it.
perspective, and it changes people's perspective. You know what we had to do? We had to put $500 when we finally got $500. We had to put $500 in our pocket so that we could walk around with $500. We had no intentions of ever spending it.
Right. Yeah.
In the very beginning, just to give you an idea of where we were financially, that felt uncomfortable to carry $500 around in your pocket. Why should that feel uncomfortable? You should have money in your life,
Right. But
right?
it's not uncomfortable to you guys because $500 at the time was probably the most you've had for one time.
Well, we've had that much before, but to carry it around with you all the time, you're thinking, okay, I need to go put this somewhere. I need to stick this under my mattress. I need to go put this in the bank. I need it, right? Yeah. $500, and then later you carry around $1,000. Later, I mean, there's only so much. It starts to get, thick, and you don't want to. It's just a pain more than anything else. But to carry something around with you in the beginning stages, it actually makes you feel like, okay, I'm carrying this value around with you. Maybe over time, that can do the credit card piggybacking.
Right.
Transfer the value from what you're carrying to recognizing of what you are, right?
Right.
That's what value is. Value is who you are. Value is what you are. Value is what you know. Value is what you say. The value is the relationships you have. The value is what you care about, right?
Right.
Your speech, your thoughts, your actions, your friends, right? All of those things is where the value really is. And in the beginning stages, like a lot of other things, Bruce Lee says, like a lot of movements in martial arts, they when you first learn them, they have a natural unnaturalness. But then when you get better at them, right, because they're awkward, like, so it's naturally unnatural. Then when you get better at them and you repeat them, and then you start to internalize where the movement is, where your weight should be, where everything is, then it starts to have an unnatural naturalness.
Naturalness.
And it becomes extremely natural to you. It becomes habitual. You can call on it anytime you want. So why isn't value and self-image and all those things the same? So we took every approach we possibly could to instill more value in ourselves by what we learned, by what we did, by who we knew, by what we had. We didn't go out and buy crazy cars. We didn't go waste our money. But you know what? If you put something on yourself that has value, there's a chance that that value might transmit into you internally. And so something like a Rolex, something like a watch like that, or even driving around a Lambo, or I don't know, those things will maybe help transmit the value. There's a very distinct possibility because the path for a boy to a man or from a girl to a woman is not just time.
Right.
We've met plenty of people that are old and they're jackasses.
Yeah.
And they have not matured socially, they have not matured financially, they have not matured emotionally, they're still adolescents, right? So the path to maturity is not from time. We've seen that. And it's also not guaranteed that if you just have something nice, that doesn't make you mature either. We've met plenty of jerks that have nice things.
Right.
So, but you know what? If there is a piece of the puzzle that we can use that, and you know what? You deserve nice things in your life. When we were living together, we had 4 guys, and we had it was me, Ty, and a couple other guys. One of them went to Beijing. We all have made over 6 figures after living in that house and after having a very clear goal of, look, this is what we're going to do every single day. We had a plan, we had a workout scheme, we had trading computers set up, we had systems for everything. Hey, we don't want a couch, we don't want a TV, we don't want excuses to become complacent. We want a place where we can relax, like, so we have a massage chair set up, we have a library, we have a meditation room, we have if you need to sleep, go sleep. Otherwise, it's time to work. And what we did is, for gifts at this house, we got everyone in the house a big-faced Invicta watch. And at the time, those watches were worth about $600. We got a deal on them, on several of them together, but they were worth about $500-600 a pop. And the reason is, you're going to have lots of nice watches in your life. Don't be afraid to wear something just because you have a scarcity mindset. You need to have an abundance mindset. Wear it, beat it up, put mileage on it, show it off, do whatever you need to do, but get used to having nice things in your life, because there's a lot more nice things that are coming. Don't have a scarcity mindset and hold back.
Right.
And also, it was this massive thing, this huge face with these big numbers, so that we could always remember what time it is. If you're not getting what you want out of your 9 to 5, there is no such thing as free time. Free time doesn't exist. Well, but free time. I don't mean financially. I mean, like, okay, I go to work and I'm making money for somebody else. I'm not working for myself. I'm not making my dreams come true. I'm getting table scraps to do somebody else's work, build their business, make their dreams come true. Right? Make them, and I get table scraps. And then I go home and I'm like, all right, I'm done with work. Now I have some free time, so I can mess around and do nothing, right? And waste and go have fun and just fulfill emotional stuff. But guess what? I'm never going to have the life that I want, ever, if that's my attitude, because I'm building somebody else's dream. That's his time. The time that we're calling free time, that's my time. Yeah. So if I'm not getting what I want from my 9 to 5, then the only time that I have to do it is outside of that 9 to 5. So that's my time. So free time, to me, you can allocate time for relaxing. It's important. You should have balance in your life. But if you're stuck in a 9 to 5, you still have the golden handcuffs, and you can't leave because you're afraid of losing that to find something better. You can't take the risk because you need the security, right? There's a lot of reasons why people aren't taking that leap. And the biggest one is the risk versus the security. They can't take the risk that gets the reward because they're stuck on the security. And a lot of people have life situations where they literally cannot afford to take the risk because they've got family, they've got 100 other things to take care of, and they're not making enough money to make a leap. But the only time that they can do that is in their free time, in their time. So I think free time doesn't exist. I think it's time I'm doing something for somebody else and time that I'm doing things for me. Yeah. So if you get into that mindset of, you know what, okay, now I can start doing things for me. Remember what time it is. Remember what time it is. It's time to get those things done that's going to give me the life that I want. And it has nothing to do with taking from anybody or using anybody or getting things from anybody else. It has to do with making the most quality relationships in my life that I can actually contribute to. If I can contribute and build value in your life, that's good to you, right?
Right.
If I can do that with anyone, then that's good to them. That creates lasting relationships. They will often want to help and contribute back. So if they happen to have a company that does XYZ, and I happen to have a company that needs XYZ, right? And I've made a difference in their life, their company can make a difference in my company.
Their life, yeah. So
Right?
it's
It's just kind of a, I don't know what you call that. It's just a balance. People help each other out. Anybody that's successful knows that, you know what, I'm going to help the people that help me.
Right, yeah. I don't want to help the people that are using me just for one reason, and when I need help, they're not going to come back and help me, right? Yeah, I get what you're saying, because I go through that a lot, being so young.
Yeah. And along with the habit of making a connection each day, you should also get into the habit of giving 10 times more than you receive.
Right, yeah. I
So
agree.
you really don't expect a lot in return, but if you get in such a habit of giving so much all the time, and I'm not talking about giving away all your crap and going broke. I'm talking, I mean, like, just making a difference in other people's lives. If you can make contributions in other people's lives, then you're going to find that over time, your life is going to get better.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for that. Honestly, thank you for all the advice that you've given, telling me stuff from your experience and everything. I do appreciate that. And I do appreciate you taking time out of your day to chat with me. So thank you for that as well. And yeah, I've learned so much off this broadcast, and I know more today. I know more now than what I knew when I woke up. And it's because you took the time to explain to me, and I appreciate that. So yeah.
Appreciate you having me on. And if there's anything else you need, feel free to give me a holler. If there's anything else that we can discuss or something else that's weighing on you, a different topic, then I'm happy to share my experience. So it's just we're all going through this journey.
Right. Yeah. I appreciate that, and same goes to you. If I could help you in any way, please let me know, and don't hesitate.
Rock and roll.
That'll be all for today. Thank you.
All right.
See you.